Okay, the sessions are going to be recorded. Okay, thanks for joining yesterday event. It's a webinar session, and then the launch event of the three website. One is the bigdatachapter.com. This is a purely a community oriented site, so you can join together because if you are already registered that Google form, so you will be automatically migrated to within Monday or Tuesday. You will get receive an email confirmation of email of your user ID and password. It will be automatically migrated. Once it's migrated, you will receive that all this activity. Okay, you can also register, but still just wait for one day. You will get an automated email for that if you are already registered the Google form. So those who registered the Google form automatically receive the membership, free membership for and the Big Data chapter. You can do the all the activities. I explained what are the things are having in the Big Data chapter, what are the communities stuffs are available in the project area, either in the knowledge area, and then it is the forum, it has the chat window, it has a group, multiple groups on each area. Everything till the end-to-end of the community forum is available on the bigdatachapter.com. The next website we launched on the Big Data training, Big Data certification.in. It is purely training and certification or certification program oriented. So this is if anybody want to learn on the training on the certification program on the big data field or data science field, those who can go and register over there. The event, the calendar will be get published over there based on the times. So you can go and register over there. That's for bigdatacertification.in. So the third website is the bigdatacv.com. That is purely for the job-oriented opportunities from the fresher to the till the 20 years of experience people who require for the job and then the job-related side on the data and data science field. They can upload their CV on that portal. So if the right IT people of HR people, they contact you. So that kind of platform we are creating, the bridging the job opportunities towards on this bigdatacv.com. So these three websites are towards on the Big Data community chapter and then Indian Society of Big Data. Okay, so let's get started so some people they are trying to misuse that, so please whoever is trying to misuse, stop them and then identify and then inform me. Okay, some people they are putting the they're sharing their unwanted stuffs and then they're putting some kind of proxy related or they're stealing some kind of knowledge or so. If you identify, please stop that. So make sure that 1% of the people we are still identifying, but we are focusing on the 99% of good people who really need the knowledge. Okay, who really need this into the successful on this big data field. Okay, so that's our noble cause of this particular community forum we have started. So let's get started for today's session. So this big data chapter we'll start at on the Sqoop and Hive on HBase. We'll start at the understanding the foundation level or the basic level of understanding towards that, but it will also have a full-fledged of knowledge. You can also self-learn that, and then I'll give you the debrief of overview of this technology. Okay, I'll go to the slide. Just a moment. Today, let's get started with the topic called Sqoop. Okay, so the Sqoop is one of the interesting topic for who is already working in a SQL Server or Oracle or a DBase, DB2, whatever the technology you're working as a database management administrator or database programmer. So this particular Sqoop tool, which is very, very useful for you if you want to become a data science or data big data field or Hadoop programmer. Okay. So before starting this, I'll just give an introduction of the Sqoop. What is the Sqoop? Why we have to use the Sqoop first of all, and then what is the how the Sqoop is working, and then what are the important importing and exporting commands or settings for Sqoop, and then data improvement import of through Hive or HBase, how we have to use through using the Sqoop. And Sqoop and NoSQL data, this MongoDB, how to use this Sqoop into the NoSQL data store, and resources, what are the resources are available in the Sqoop. Okay. So this is our agenda of the next 1 hour of session, and then we'll try to understand of what is Sqoop, what is the how to import and export using the Sqoop to the HDFS or the Hive or HBase. What are the databases we want to import and then perform the data related activities? We'll understand that. First of all, let me introduce what is a Sqoop. Okay, Sqoop. If you are using this SQL server already, you are using the those kind of SQL servers. These are the RDBMS concept, right? So the RDBMS concept, they have the traditional field of rows and columns, and entire tables will be there. So these things, this SQL server processing the data many years, last 10 years, you might be have a repositories of data dumps you might be have. So these dumps of data, you need to be get reutilized. You have to export that, and then you have to process very faster. If you again you are dump the data in the SQL server, it is no use. So through the analytical field, through the analytical world of data, you can export the entire last 10 years of data through Sqoop tool. It is an import and export specifically for an Hadoop environment. So we can export those data or import those data to the HDFS. It's a transforming the data using script, inefficient of, so I'll tell you that the SQL does not have the capabilities. That's the main thing. Okay, the traditional database management tool does not have the capabilities of high-end reporting or data visualization or application built in enterprises. These are the existing thing of SQL Server, which is the purely for different purpose. But it's a wonderful tool. We are not denying that. So SQL Server or Oracle is a wonderful tool. It is till the terabytes level or gigabytes levels of the tool, which is best. When you are moving towards if you want to export terabytes of data, and then you want to do a predictive analytical phase, then you have to use for the Sqoop or Hive or HBase. Those kind of tools is be very, very useful for you. Okay, so that's the message of this. So let's understand why we have to go for Sqoop. Okay, so why we have to go for the Sqoop is user must ensure that the consistency of the data and consumption productivity of the resources or data preparation or provisioning downstream the pipeline. Okay, if you are using the RDB, relational database, RDB means relational database. If you want to transform the data from the relational database management system like SQL or Oracle or DB2 or whatever the tool you are using, towards you are moving towards on the data dump to Hadoop environment. For that, you need a Sqoop tool. Okay, and also from Hadoop to, if you want to export the dump of terabytes of or petabytes of data you want to move towards on the result sets need to be moved to Hadoop to relational database management tool. It is also possible through Sqoop tool. So directly you can able to access importing the data and directly can access the exporting the data to the external environment through the map reduce programs, through the result sets can be used, and then the data process will be performed in the clusters of multiple node. If you're having the SQL server, it will be performed on the one single server. Maybe some of the logical servers can be connected, but here the data processing of the terabytes of data in the processing through MapReduce. Through MapReduce, the clusters will be get connected. The terabytes of data will be get processed, and then the result set will be can be exported to the your Sqoop, or through the Sqoop you can get the result in the SQL server. So dumping of the data, if you have 10 millions of banking customer data, you want to get from process some business logic. If you are using the SQL server, you might be writing a store procedure, and then the store procedures will be going to work with the triggering of all the record need to be get matched. But if you are exporting that SQL server dump to an HDFS, and then if you are processing your say your map reduce program, if you apply your business logic, it will be get processed within less than a minute. The map reduce program will be get processed your business logical based on the how many number of clusters you connected, and then the speed of the data will be get processed very higher by the way of the 64 MB block size or the 128 MB block size. So the first thing you have to understand in this Sqoop is it is from relational database management system to Hadoop. It can import the data, and from Hadoop to it is going to export the data. these two activities is performed by the Sqoop. Clear on this? So any questions on this? Let me unmute you all. Okay, have just unmuted everyone. If any doubts, you can just ask me. Okay. So first thing what we discussed, what is the Sqoop? Why we have to use the Sqoop? Okay. Why we have to use the Sqoop? So Sqoop is one of the ODBC kind of concept. Like in your Visual Basic or other graphical interface, you will connect the ODBC, right? Similar kind of ODBC, Open Database Connectivity. The Sqoop is one of the powerful tool. You can able to connect any kind of database to import structured, unstructured, semi-structured data, and it can be useful for your exporting the data of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data types. That's why the Sqoop is very powerful. What is Sqoop? We have to understand what is Sqoop. So I'll just unmute that for a record purpose. Okay, so let's understand what is Sqoop. Okay, one second. Okay, I have unmuted everyone for a record purpose. So today we are learning about this Sqoop. I specified the Sqoop is an import export tool, and we have to understand very clearly what is the introduction of the Sqoop. Okay, Sqoop is a tool. Okay, it's just a tool. It's not a big software. It is not like a Hadoop. It has different architecture. It does not have a. It's a simple tool. You can very easily learn this tool, but it has many features. The Sqoop is one of the best tool for the who's having the already traditional way they're working. They want to process high-end solution. They have to convert themselves to utilize the Sqoop tool for Hadoop environment. Sqoop is a tool designed to transfer the data between the Hadoop and relational database management system. Okay, Sqoop is a tool that designed to transfer your data between a Hadoop and relational database. You can use this tool for import the data from a relational database management system such as SQL Server or MS SQL or Oracle into a Hadoop distributed file system. These data will be get dumped into your HDFS. Okay, this data will be get transformed and stored in the HDFS, or you can directly dump towards on the HBase or Hive. Whatever the data you want to get performed, you can use that. Then it is transform the data from the Hadoop with a MapReduce or Hive. This data has been converted for processing through a MapReduce or Hive. And also this Sqoop tool is being used for export the data back to the RDBMS. That means Relational Database Management System. It is going to export the data. It can able to possible to import and also export. So that's why this Sqoop is a very powerful tool for the larger data. Next, we'll go to the next slide. Okay. What are the other things you can able to perform using the Sqoop? Sqoop allow to easy to import and export of data, structured data store. Like there is a data store is there. Okay, structured data store. The relational database management, enterprises data warehouse, and the NoSQL system. Many such a system. It is not only supporting SQL Server or Oracle. It is processing the enterprises data warehousing. It is able to use the NoSQL systems. Any kind of databases, any kind of databases, you can able to import the data and export the data. That's why it is a very wonderful tool. The provision data from the external system onto the HDFS, and once data is moved to the table to the Hive or HBase. It can be able to provisional that you can able to move the data and populate directly dumping to the Hive or HBase. So this kind of way, the Sqoop will be going to work it out for you. And also, Sqoop is integrated with the Oozie. Oozie is one of the workflow system. Okay, how these programs are need to be executed, in the what manner. There is a workflow functionality we can able to define, or scheduling can be defined. What time it need to work, when it need to be worked. It is like a scheduling of task. Okay, the Sqoop integrated with the Oozie allow you to schedule and automate import and export the task. It automatically scheduling the when it need to be get imported, what it need to be get imported, when it need to be exported. Every day morning some dumps of data you want to export. Every day night you want to import certain data, you want to be get imported large data. So during that time the scheduling, the Sqoop and then Oozie will be get integrated to processing you for a exporting and importing in a scheduled manner. The Sqoop is using the connector based on the architecture which support plugin. Okay, it will act as a plugin for you. It will provide the connectivity for any new external system. It does not constrain to, okay, I can only support for SQL Server or Oracle. It does not constrain that. This Sqoop architecture is connectors or support as a plugin that provide the connectivity to any external, any new external. If somebody finding the new way of external data system to storing the data, that is also will going to support. That is the kind of architecture the Sqoop is architected. Okay, so this is basically understanding of this Sqoop. What are the things are Sqoop usage? Okay, the Sqoop is used in the Hadoop clusters. The Sqoop is run on the Hadoop cluster. The Sqoop has access to the core of the Hadoop. Okay, the Sqoop is used a map reduce to slice the incoming data to place into an HDFS. Okay, this particular Sqoop is running under these Hadoop clusters, means it is on top of your Hadoop. Okay, and in the Sqoop import, it is going to import from the relational database or NoSQL DB to your Hadoop environment. And also it is going to export the data from the Hadoop environment to the relational database management system or NoSQL or any kind of environment of your SQL or any external kind of databases management system. So those are the things. It's very much useful as a Sqoop. So next one is we are going to understand the data set being transformed into slices, the different partition. Okay, each records of the data is handled in a type of safe manner, slice into Sqoop, that data metadata interface type. Okay, each records will be sliced into multiple jobs, map reduce jobs. It's going to perform your data analytical. Okay, so let's understand a few things about these Sqoop commands. Okay, some of the Sqoop commands you have to understand. So far what we understood is what is Sqoop, what is the purpose of the Sqoop, why we have to use the Sqoop, what are the manner you can able to import, and how you can able to export the data, what are the databases are supporting, what are the external databases are supporting. Those things we have discussed. I'll just unmute for a few minutes to ask any questions if anybody is having, or anybody want to share any knowledge on the Sqoop introductions. You can share the knowledge over here. Okay, I saw one question was in the chat window. Sridhar is asked, how do we load incremental data using Sqoop? Yes, the incremental data using Sqoop is possible. You can do that. There are commands are there for the incremental data using. If any data is keep updating incrementally, still we can able to get the near real-time data. Anybody has any questions? Okay, there is another questions from Ramdesh Venkatraman. Do we need to install any relational database management driver into system? as you said, the ODBC, we need to configure and install the related drivers. So here, if you want to get connected on that to the Sqoop, you need to have the Sqoop tool. The Sqoop tool need to be available on your Hadoop environment. There you don't need to have a driver. So it is the inbuilt tool of your connectivity, but you should have a SQL server or Oracle, anything. That is enough. You have to just specify the what is the database name, what is the username, what is the password of that. That is more than enough to access the via Sqoop. You need a authentic login ID, password, and then database locations where it is available. What table you are going to import. What is the record? What is the table you are going to import? Everything is possible through Sqoop. There is no separate ODBC is required. The Sqoop is having all the connectivity. It's a different architecture.
Mani,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so this is Karthikeyan.
Yes, Karthik.
One of the questions that I asked is, can we use the CTL tool to connect between two RDBMS without involving HDFS? Example, migrate Oracle 11 to 12.
Come again with your question. I'm not getting that. One second.
No, can we use this tool as a ETL between two RDBMS without involving HDFS? Example, migrate between Oracle 11 to Oracle 12.
Okay, so this tool, I don't think so. This is purpose of this tool is for that purpose, and this tool is to import and export specifically for HDFS. Okay, it will not act as the like an import and export tool for SQL to SQL, SQL to Oracle, or Oracle to SQL. So this can be possible, but you can do that, but you have to dump the data again back to HDFS. From the HDFS, you can do an export model to the again back to the SQL. So that way we can able to migrate without doing any map reduce program or map reduce functionality to search it. Blindly you can dump the data, export of 64 MB of slicing the data. Then again you can do an import of this data, import and export of data through HDFS. You can try some POC. I'll try and then I'll tell you. That's a good question. Anybody has any other question?
Hi, my name is Sandeep.
Yes, Sandeep.
And in what format the data will be saved in HDFS? Is it like in a notepad file, or what format, and what is the delimiter there? Will that be ending with the commas, or will there be a space in between the records?
Okay, it's a kind of a dump of raw data. It will not have a commas or things. It will be a dump of map reduced data. It's a 64 MBs of block data. Okay, whatever it is.
The question is, if there are like 10 columns in our table, and if we dump to HDFS, will there be any space in between the columns, or everything will be without any space or any?
No. The same structure what you have in your table. Okay, you have to create a structure. There is a structure column, a structure method is there. So if you have in your SQL server, you have 100 columns. You want to import. Okay, if you want to import, you need to create a structure for that. That structure is that you have to define the structure. These 5 columns I'm going to import. This 5 column need to be get stored on this manner. You have to define that. So the defining things we have to do through this some Sqoop command is there. I'll explain you in these slides. Okay, I understand your question.
Okay, thank you.
I'll explain you.
And can we use joins?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Many question, this Kanan.
Yes, ma'am.
Many this Sqoop will have a server. The server is running in a separate server where all the data will be pulled from the RDMS, and it will need some server, right? It's running in a server or just a client.
It will work in the Hadoop environment. You should have a map reduce Hadoop. You have to be installed. On top of the Hadoop, it's a sub project. It does not act as a separate server. It will be a import export ODBC connectivity tool. Okay, that is specifically designed for a Hadoop environment where it need to be get connected to any kind of databases. So it is a one part of tool. It will not act as a server.
So all the load will be handled by clusters, right? The Hadoop clusters, right? All the process, everything.
All the nodes will be managed by the master node. All the clusters will be managed by the master node. These tools will be available in the master node. That means the Hadoop environment. It is like how we are having the Hive or HBase we install. Similar way, the Sqoop we have to install. We have to configure that Sqoop. After you configure the Sqoop, it will just act as the import export command tool. It is just internal tool that will connect the ODBC via like a ODBC, how the connectivities are happening. Likewise, it will be connected. It will not act as a server. It will link.
Kind of a tool, utility, right? It's like a tool or utility built on top of Hadoop.
Yes, it is built on top of Hadoop.
Thank you.
And then there is a question. I hope use of Hadoop engine, right? So Ram, this specified question is using the it is using the Hadoop engine, right? It is on top of your Hadoop. It is possible to import mainframe legacy vSAM data. Yes, possible. You can import any kind of data. And which scenario will go for an export? That's another good question. Okay, there is another question is raised in the chart window. On what scenario we are going to export the data? So exporting the data, what it will be doing, this will say when you are doing the import and export, after processing your dump of 1 terabyte of data, if you have a certain tool, if you have a 10 crores records on your SQL server, right? If you have that 10 crores of server, what it will do, you can able to dump the data to the HDFS and process. You can apply the business logic, what you want to apply. Then based on the apply, you will get a result, right? Okay. For example, whether how many records are matching for my basic condition. You'll find a result, right? That finding the result, you can directly export into a view on your database, SQL Server database. Instead of processing 10 millions of record and then finding the 1,000 record of your matching result, that you are exporting entire thing using the Sqoop, and then you are processing in a very faster manner using the clusters environment, and the result set you are going to export back to the view or a table back. So that's where you can able to use this export of this particular tool. Yep. Yes, tell me. Any questions? Anybody else want to share your not? Yep. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Just want to check a quick thing. This only option to pick the data from other APIs. We have multiple data. So just want to understand.
Jagan, the voices is not audible. Jagan.
Is it okay now? Is it fine?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Yeah. So I just want to understand how Sqoop is different from other ATL tools.
Okay. So Sqoop, I got the question. So the ETL tool is a wonderful tool. If you are having the SQL Server or Oracle, there are some ETL tools are available. I'll tell you the for the other audience purpose. ETL means is extract, transform, and load. That is the first short form of ETL. ETL means export, transform, and load. These tools are related to BI, Business Intelligence Tool. Okay, it's a BI intelligence tool where you can able to on top of your SQL server, on top of your mainframe or on top of your Oracle, there are several hundreds of tools are already available using the ETL. Okay, these tools are exporting your SQL Server data dump to through extract and transform and load format. That means these operations will be going to perform. It can be extract, it can be transform your data, and it can also load the data. That's ETL. These business intelligence tools are useful for to reporting, to visualization. There are existing tools are available in the ETL tool on the business intelligence. Those tools are having the limitations of this SQL Server or Oracle, which is can able to possible to process terabytes level or gigabytes level, maximum gigabytes level. Okay, we are focusing. It will not process as the Hadoop environment like a map reduce engine. The SQL Server if you are using, and then on top of this some ETL tools are using, then you are just taking the processing the entire set of world data, and then you are processing entire set of world data each time, and then you are transforming, and then you are loading to the for visualization purpose or reporting purpose, some business intelligence tools you are using on top of your SQL Server or Oracle. But this Sqoop tool will be a kind of ETL tool, but it will be act as an import and export tool. Rather ETL tool, we can say it's a import and export connectivity engine. This import and export connectivity engine will connect your external databases or internal databases. It will be connect, and then it will be convert into an HDFS block size of 64 MBs of block. Once it is done, you can able to process your map predicts program. Then you can the result set can be transformed to your existing SQL Server or Oracle databases. The existing ETL tools are still valid tool, and the existing BI tools are still valid tool for a limited of gigabytes level. We are forming the terabytes to petabytes level of data. So that's where this is the difference.
Mani, I have a question, Kanan. Mani, here you said right, the ETL, it's kind of ETL, the exports and imports or exports.
Yes.
The question is, when it extracts the data from, it has to extract the data from RDBMS, right? So a query only. So it will send some queries to get the database. That how it will improve that one? That will be anyway. It has to be the data to be get from the RDBMS tables, right? So that part, that Sqoop will have any improvement. It will improve the speed, or only the transform and loading will improve definitely. So just it using other.
I got it. So you are asking a question of the if you are having a ODBC, for example, I'm telling you the ODBC connectivity, I'm putting that importing the table. How it has been differ from the ODBC connectivity of the Sqoop architecture, how it is going to import the table, how far it is unique feature. Okay, so this particular unique features of Sqoop is the import and export during that the architecture of the Sqoop is a different architecture because it needs support for any kind of databases. Even can be text file, or you can import as a text file, you can import as a table, you can import as a relational database management system, you can import the unstructured data, you can export as an unstructured data, you can export to the structured data, any kind of data things you have to support. So this architecture is a little different architecture. Right now, you can understand it is just a tool where you can able to import and export. But when I go through that architecture, I'll explain that. But it has its own unique features on this. When it is connecting to RDBMS, it has its own unique features on how to get the packets of data, how to export, what are the partitioning things we have to get into that, what are the values we have to get from the to the particular cell. Many things are available in the using Sqoop. Also through why we are doing it through Sqoop, we are having a processing this. If you are putting to the HBase, the HBase, you can the 10 millions of record if you are dump within with a simple import command. Once you dump to the HBase, you can just directly point to the which record cell you want. It is a column oriented databases. It is not the structured data. If you are putting a select star from an employee table where employee name equal to Kannan, if you specified that, then what it will happen, if you have a 10 lakhs record, it will go for each record and whether it is name is matching or condition. If it is matching means, if it is not matching, it will move for the next record. if your record is on the 10 lakh, 909 lakh for records, then what it will do, it will process 9 lakh record, then finally you have that final record onto that. That is a performance scale. So there also there is, you can able to have multiple views or any other features we can able to implement. But here the operating of the entire 10 lakhs records within a millisecond of time we can able to process. The map reduce structure or the import and export can be possible within very limited time, and then the 10 million record, 100 million records can be processed within a very less time. So it can be connected to multi-cluster. That's why it's a distributed environment. We need to understand how the distributed environment is working.
Thanks, Mani, but at the end of the day, it has to get the data from that RDM, right? It cannot bypass the RDM server, right? The SQL server or Oracle server. It has to get a request to Oracle server.
It cannot
And
bypass.
Oracle server has to,
Yeah, please go ahead with your question. I'll talk later. Yeah. Please.
It has to, end of the day, it has to get the data from RDBMS. It has to go to the RDBMS server. Okay, it can be SQL server, MySQL, or any server. It has to go to there. It cannot bypass that Oracle instance directly. It cannot connect, put the raw data and pull the data. Right? Because the mapping, everything will be held in the Oracle server, right? So it has to get the data. It has to fire the query. Query can be fired by only through query only you can get the data. In that case, query can be only processed by Oracle server or SQL server, right?
No.
Still the load will be, that delay will be that we are not bypassing, will improve the performance by Sqoop, something, extra thing. Yes. Oracle may be fetching data from 16K for a block or 16K or 64K block. It's not like a 64 MB. So it has to wait that Sqoop has to wait, right, to get the data from Oracle to supply the data. Then once it gets the data from RDBMS, Sqoop can take the data and it can put it into the Hadoop and 64 bytes, 64 MB block size, and it can use the map reducer and get that, process the data and load into the, and you can get back the data in faster way, as you said. But the initial, the source where you get the data, is still there is any improvement, any new things used by Sqoop to get the data?
Yes, there is an improvement is are available. So here, this we cannot bypass the SQL server. That is true. We cannot bypass that. But if you are having the clear authentication of login ID and password and the database name, or which table you want to take the dump of the data, if you are authorized person to access the this particular SQL server, then you can specify giving the rights to access this database. If you have the right to access the databases, then you have to give a credential to export and import the data. So there is a configuration mechanisms are there. So after the configuration, if you're giving the credential, the same user ID and password and database access when you're putting over through Sqoop, it is the authorized command to access your entire dump of data or entire table of data what you have given a permission. That data can be imported to as a 64 MBs of block size. When it is exporting to the databases to like a Hadoop to RDBMS, there also it is a 64 MB block, but when it's getting imported, it is the processing for Oracle may be a very less the processing time. It can be 3 KB, 3 KB of block size, but here when it is getting processed in the 64 MB sub block size in the HDFS environment, when you're dumping of your entire database to here to the particular SQL server to the Hadoop environment. When it is processing through MapReduce program, you can write a Java program, you can write a Python script. After for what is the value you are going to create using the entire dump of data. If you are writing a select star from query from the SQL server, or if you are creating a trigger, or if you are creating Sqoop wizard, similar manner you are going to write a MapReduce program and you are going to process your entire dump of data. Then you are going to the result set may not be larger data. The result set may be a very smaller data. You can able to redirect to the export in a quicker way. That's why it is very popular tool.
Thanks, Mani.
Okay, so let's let me go through the questions little later. Let's continue the other slides. Okay, so now we will understand more on the certain SQL scoop command. Okay, what are the scoop commands are available? How to configure the scoop? Those things. You can download this Sqoop tool from the apache.sqoop.com. That means if you go to the apache.org, you can download this, find this Sqoop tool, and then you can download the version and configure. This configuration is very simple. If you're already configured your Hadoop environment, you have to configure the path of this folder and then the path of the certain configurations. I can send the configurations to everyone so that you can configure step-by-step guideline you can configure to your home. Okay. So after you configure of that particular folder, then you can start using the sqoop command. First thing you have to do, you can use the many environment. You can use in the cloud environment, or you can use in your home computer, or you can use in the laptop, or even nowadays you can use the mobile way also. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are going to install this sqoop into our laptop. Everyone try to install the Hadoop environment on your laptop or computer. Always try to use that rather going for cloud, because you can able to easily access your system anytime. Okay, so let's understand certain things. The sqoop command, if you type the sqoop, you will get a certain basic commands. Okay, so here you can understand the certain available commands. Okay, so here the what are the major commands we'll use? Import hyphen all dot hyphen tables, list hyphen databases, list hyphen tables, merge, metastore, export, eval, create hyphen hive hyphen table, code gen. So these are the commands is majorly we'll use for our the sqoop operation. Okay, the first command we majorly will use for import. This import command, sqoop space import, will be useful for your importing the table from a database to HDFS. And then import hyphen all hyphen table, it will import a table, particular table if you want to take, or all table if you want to take. Then you can use the import all hyphen all table, import tables, multiple tables. I'm talking about multiple tables. There's one table, so here multiple tables. Okay, the import all hyphen tables from the database to HDFS. Then it can able to export the HDFS directory to an database table. It has its own structure. I'll explain you on that. Okay, so it can possible to import all tables, import tables from HDF databases to HDFS, and HDFS to you can able to export the data. And also you can do an incremental import. Somebody asked a question whether it is possible incremental. Yes, it is possible in the Sqoop tool. You can do a merge of results of incremental imports, where you can able to keep merge the or update the existing data again the incremental model. You can merge the results of incremental imports. And also it has the metastore. It has the run a standalone Sqoop metastore. It has a complete dumping of metastores. And also it has the eval. So eval will be evaluate. Eval is the just another SQL Server statements to display the results. There is a command. It will be evaluate you. Evaluate a SQL statement is valid or not. Okay, so these are the major some of the commands we can understand. We'll understand the job little later, but you understand the four major commands: import, import all table, export, and then the merge. These four commands we normally use for different purpose. Okay. Okay. First thing you have to understand all the commands what is available in the Sqoop. Sqoop is the first usage command. Then you have to find the command. These commands are export, eval, help, import all, whatever the previous slide what we discussed. It is not, that slide is not clear. That's why I created a different slide. The Sqoop is a command. In the dollar symbol in the terminal window, you have to type the command called Sqoop. After that, import. then you have to give the database name to the HDFS path. Okay, let's see the one command line for importing the database. Okay, the command here is, it's very important, please listen that the Sqoop import, the Sqoop space import hyphen connect JDBC colon MySQL colon / localhost / testdb. The testdb is the database. Okay, the location of the database is available in the MySQL localhost testdb. I'm going to connect through a JDBC connectivity of MySQL, and then I'm going to import the table. So first you have to use the command called Sqoop import connect. Connect is the connecting the table, and then the table location, the database location, then hyphen table, which table you want to import. The table name you have to specify. Hyphen, there you are giving a parameter. Okay, the parameter you have to give hyphen, the username of that particular database, and then the hyphen password. The password have to access the databases. So 4 command you have to understand: Sqoop import, connectivity table, username, password. This is the authorized way of to access your databases. Okay, so command Sqoop import connect JDBC colon MySQL colon / localhost / testdb is the database location / hyphen table name hyphen username is for user access, username hyphen password, with password is the your password to access your databases. I'll just unmute for a minute. For any questions you can ask. Anyone having any questions on this basic command? So there are a lot of advanced level commands are available. Okay, we are just learning the beginning stage. I'm just giving the beginning commands. Yeah, please go ahead with the questions.
Hi Mani, this is Ramesh.
Yeah, Ramesh.
How will you do for a SQL Server database? Because you are connecting to MySQL, so I mentioned that MySQL. If the SQL Server means, how will you do it in JDBC connection? What a parameter will you pass?
Yeah, it's the same way for SQL. They have to just change that connector. There are so many connectors are available. Like for MS SQL, .NET have the separate connector, right, for SQL Server. Similar way, the Sqoop is having dedicated connectors are available for each databases. So you can use that SQL Server. So there is a connector. I can describe that in a table. What are the things you have to do for if you which table? What is the statement you have to use the connector? There is this hyphen connect. You can put the JDBC, MS SQL or SQL, whatever the things you want to do, you can do it. Okay, that location only you have to do for SQL Server or Oracle or any kind of DB2 databases or any other dump of external connector. There you can specify. I'll explain you what are things. There that hyphen connect JDBC SQL you can use.
Thank you.
Anybody has any other questions? Anybody else they want to share your knowledge to the other people? Have you ever tried?
Mani, this is Jagan.
Yes, Jagan.
How do you give, see, you just given the table name, right? If I want to specify any queries, subset of data and all, how do you specify that?
Yes, it is also possible. It is also possible. So here, this table name, you are asking that subset of tables, right? Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, it's like SQL query with filter.
Filter option. Okay. So the filter option.
Yeah.
Okay, it's possible. Don't worry, it's possible. So here we are just dumping the data. Okay. After dumping, if you want to select only the filtered value, okay, there is a different command is there in a Sqoop. For filter, there is a separate command is there. After the table name, the other parameters will come. Okay, only select a particular row, only select from row 100 to 200, or with the condition where it's been get satisfied. So those things also it is possible through Sqoop. I'll explain you that also. But here after the table, instead of giving a table name, the table name is must. After the table name, there are certain parameters you have to provide for exporting or importing a certain specific value. There is a filters options will be there. But for that filter, you have to export a view or kind of way. That view or that table can be accessible over here in the SQL Server. That's a right method. But in the Sqoop, it will be just dumping of your database or table what you want to export or import. It's a structured way or unstructured way. That's not a problem. But the filter options, you can do the columns or views over there. Instead of table, you can able to export or import the views also. But if you are performing that, if you have 100 columns in your databases or table, and 100 columns, only filtered columns of filtered record rows need to be get extracted or imported. It is also possible, but you can also import to the views that directly you can able to access. Or here also it is possible to select only specific filtered values possible. I'll explain you that also. In the subsequent slide, you can see that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, now we'll understand. Yeah.
Sorry.
Please go ahead with the question.
Joins are here. Join other table.
Yes.
Joining couple of tables can be done through by extracting data, or after loading the data to Hadoop, we have to write a full.
Yes, joining we can do. There is a metast. There is option is there. The merge is there, right? This merge. This merge is going to be useful for as an increment import. This merge can be used for joining these two tables. Okay.
Okay.
So we have to use the command called merge for that. Merging the multiple incremental table or merging the table, different table. Similar to join, it will be helpful for to merging the multiple tables or field, whatever things you want to perform. This merge the results. These results can be your what you want to merge. Okay, so now we'll understand how Sqoop imports work. Okay, how the Sqoop is working. First step, it is the Sqoop is the introspective of the databases to gather necessary metadata for a database to import. Before importing to the your database, okay, there are certain operation it will do. It will gather as a metadata. It will not simply take your dump of your table and then it will just dumping to HDFS. Okay, before before putting into the HDFS, it will work as a map reduce engine. The Sqoop will be work as a map reduce engine. When it is reading and writing to the databases, importing or exporting any operation it is performing, it will import the data into a Sqoop job. Okay, there's a Sqoop jobs are available. That Sqoop job, what it will do, it will be convert your databases or convert your data into a map reduced data, and it will store as into the HDFS storage. Okay, Sqoop introspective databases gather the necessary metadata. Metadata means detailed informations of for your data being imported. What are the data need to be get imported? What are the ways need to be processed? Those things it will be predefined when it is converting or when it is importing data as a Sqoop job. There is a Sqoop job will be get run. That Sqoop job will be convert your database. Here the orders or your data table. These orders are again, if you have 10 lakhs record, the 10 lakhs record will be converted into multiple 64 MBs of block. That will be get processed metadata of key comma value pair concept. The key and value pair, each record, each cell value, each table will be converted into a key comma value pair. The key and value will be get stored as a metaphor. The metaphor of the Sqoop jobs. the mapper and values, the key and values will be get stored into a HDFS storage. When it's getting imported, it will be converted into a map reduce programs, and the key comma value pair, the data are get organized, and the meta store will be get stored in the HDFS storage. That's a step number 1. And step number 2, the map only Hadoop job submitted to the clusters by Sqoop. Okay, the map jobs only able to possible to store in the HDFS job. The map only job perform the data transfer using the metadata captured as per the step 1. Okay, here the step 1 will be gathered the metadata, and step 2 you can see on the diagram, submit the map only job. So that will be convert your metadata of your databases will be converted into a map jobs. That map jobs will be connected or stored into a HDFS storage. That's a Hadoop cluster environment. The map Redis engine will be work on your data architecture. This is the first level of architecture of your Sqoop, how the import is working. If you have a dump of SQL Server databases, that SQL Server databases have hundreds of tables having lakhs and lakhs of record. First, it will collect your all the join or filter or what data need to be get imported, what are the data need to be gathered, all the metadata. That is the first level process will work. After processing your first level data, submit the meta mapper, submit the map only jobs. That jobs will be stored into your HDFS storage. Okay. Now we'll move to the next step. How the Sqoop import the work. Okay. The